starting out with you know what it is, the game of the week. So, Isaac, tell the folks what our game of the week is.
Our game of the week is 10th ranked Utah playing in Eugene at 12th ranked Oregon at 10:30 p.m., a late Pacific nightcap game, Mason.
Absolutely. You just hit the nail on the head, Isaac. This is gonna be a war, man. This is gonna be a battle. This is gonna be a tough one. The matchup predictor coming straight out at 51% in Utah's favor. The spread being 1 in Oregon's favor. This is gonna be a close game. And sometimes, you know, when the spread is like this, when we say, "Oh, this is gonna be a really close game," sometimes it ends up not being, you know. And speaking of that, like last week, spread was pretty close. Kentucky against Vandy, and Vandy came out and won the game. So congrats to the Doors. That was a pretty awesome game. I watched that one. But yeah, Utah-Oregon, man, this is going to be a crazy game. We've already said that it's going to be really close. So before we make our picks, Isaac, what do you think about, what's this matchup going to look like?
Well, Mason, looking at it, you know, like you said, the ESPN FPI is right at 52% in Utah's favor. The spread is 1 point in favor of Oregon, and I think this will be a good one. You know, Oregon's coming off a pretty rough game against Washington. They didn't play horribly, but they did lose and have all but been eliminated from the CFP, dropping all the way to 12th. And you got Utah, who's looking to, you know, make a late push for a Pac-12 championship, and they're ranked 10th. These two teams are identical in record, in 8-2 overall, 6-1 in conference, both in the Pac-12. So it's going to be a really good game, and I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, and I think something that you missed is that the fate of the Pac-12 championship rides on this game right here. Both teams being 10-2. Whoever wins this game is going to the ship. They're going to the Pac-12 ship. So I guess I'll go first and make my pick. Utah's schedule, you know, they got a pretty good schedule. Only losses being to Florida on the road, which is a tough road game in the SEC, and UCLA on the road, who has proven that they can be a tough team if they choose to show up, because obviously they didn't against Arizona this past weekend. Get to that later. Man, this is a really tough one. Oregon having a blowout loss to Georgia in week 1, and then, like you said, losing to Washington last week. Man, this is so hard to pick, dude, because either one of these teams could come away with this. Utah having a real impressive win against USC at home by 1 point, going for 2. We've talked about that a lot recently. Man, I'm not confident in this, but I'm going to take the Utes. I'm going to take the Utes in this one. I really think that Oregon is a tough team, and they definitely could come back and win this one, but I got the Utes in this one. I think that they know how to hold on, and I think they're going to take it from them. Now, with that being said, though, Oregon is looking for revenge after they lost to Utah last year 2 times in a row. So, you know, we won't see Oregon and Utah matching up in the Pac-12 championship this year. But one of them is going to go play USC, and you know what? We very well may see USC-Utah rematch in the Pac-12 championship.
It's very possible, Mason. I think it's a good pick. You know, I personally am on the fence because I'm sitting here looking at it, and you have Oregon, who, you know, played UCLA really well at home in Eugene last month and did get the win by 2 touchdowns. And then you have Utah, who went on the road to LA and lost to UCLA by 10. And of course, they had the big win over USC. Honestly, I like to see a Utah-USC rematch in the Pac-12. I think this will be a really good matchup, and I think Oregon's going to come out strong coming off of that loss, a very close loss to Washington last weekend. But I think Utah is going to put up a really good fight, but I'm going to go with the Ducks in this one. I think Oregon's going to make the comeback and go play USC in the Pac-12 championship.
And something that I just want to touch on that you said is, right, you said that Oregon went to UCLA and won, and Utah went to UCLA and lost by 10. And the thing is, it's really difficult to use transitive property when looking at those games, right? I mean, there's a tons of different games that you could look at where say, well, this team played this team, and then this other team played the same team and did worse, right? But it's really hard to look at it that way because it's like, well, yeah, but then, you know, like number 1 Georgia, right? They almost lost to Missouri, and Tennessee destroyed Missouri. But guess who beat Tennessee? Georgia. I haven't forgotten. I'm still there. Go Dogs. Anyway, but transitive property is such a hard thing when it comes to college football, and it's not accurate a lot of times. So that's one of the bones I got to pick with what you said. But overall, I think that's a good pick. I think Oregon could win this, but I just got to go with my gut on this one because it's so close, and I'm going to pick the Utes in this one. Joey is picking Oregon. He's with you, so that's going to be you guys up against me. But do remember, and I'm going to bring this up again too. You both picked Kansas State to beat Texas, and I picked Texas, and guess who lost? Kansas State. So I'm just saying, pretty much every time that you two have gone against me, I've won. So I hope I go 2-0 or 3-0 at whatever time this is. So that's our picks for our game of the week, Utah versus Oregon.